Listen, I'm a work in progress. This is a side hustle and a hobby.
Girl, and it's amazing. So don't even. No.
Thank you. I had to stop putting pressure on myself to be perfect and have like, I want the intro, but it's like, that's not on my plate right now. I'm not hungry for that right now.
Well, I can guarantee you people are not listening because of your intro. They're listening because of your content.
Right. See?
Everybody has an intro. You have to go through that to get to the content.
Yeah.
So
and people skip over it sometimes too. So
they do.
You know what? I'm professional enough. I got the neon sign. I got a couch.
The chairs, the microphone.
The fucking 27 pillows.
You're set. I like them. We're on? We're good? We're going.
That's actually some of my favorite moments sometimes that do happen beforehand. So we may leave that in.
Okay, well then cheers.
Cheers.
Yay,
Yvette.
we're here.
Welcome to Adultish Wines.
I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you.
By the way, your energy when I opened up the door is, I'm like, yes.
Oh, good.
I loved it.
Good.
I love everything about you.
Oh.
Ever since I met you, I thought you were a great person. Seriously, just your vibe. And I remember when we met, I remember like looking at you, I'm like, I like her. There was something about you.
I do. First of all, thank you so much for all the compliments. But I remember feeling the same way about you. We met like, has it been over a year ago at a podcasting networking event?
Yeah, probably at least a year, maybe more.
I think more than a year ago. Because it was definitely before this season 3. I think I was still doing it at the island in my my old kitchen right in front of my fridge.
Oh,
yeah, we're growing.
You are growing.
Yeah, but I remember thinking the same thing about you. It was a small event, and everyone was nice to chat to, and I've known those people, I think, for maybe even a little bit longer than you, and I was like, oh, you know what it was?
What?
Don't you have a kick-ass Jeep or Bronco?
I do.
I was like, that bitch in that car. Who is she? And then, because I think we like passed each other in the parking lot or
we
something.
did.
Yeah.
We were like, are you going to the same place I'm going? Yes.
And then I was like, okay, she's cool.
Okay,
Yeah, you have such great positive vibes.
It was what you were wearing.
What was I wearing?
I think like jeans and a really like a fun top. But in my head, I was okay. And how can I say this in a polite way? I love people. I want everybody to express themselves the way they want. But when I meet someone who definitely has their own vibe and style, to me, that's like, oh, there's a story, there's a creativity, there's something behind that person. Because it's an extra little.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So
yeah, it's an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good reminder. I've trying to be better the past couple of weeks of getting dressed and putting makeup on for work. Not because I want to hide my face or anything, but it makes me feel like I'm ready to go. I'm like portraying what I want to portray. I'm representing myself. I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great point to make.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So year and a half-ish in the making. And you live in the Heights, right?
I do. So
you
coming
live
over
close
here is great.
Together.
I loved it.
Easy. And you love wine.
Super easy. Yes. Love.
Introduce yourself, by the way. Yvette and I are just like,
we know each other. I am Yvette Valdenegro.
Yes.
Nice to meet you again. I am a relationship coach.
Okay.
Our company is YG Collaborations. And I would say our focus, as much as I try so hard to focus, is women, but empowering women and helping them with their relationship with themselves, time, and money. And we really narrowed it down because we find that women, first of all, everything starts with yourself, your relationship with yourself. So if I'm not happy with work, if my kids are driving me crazy, if my boyfriend's, like what she's not ever, but just all the relationships around, it all starts with me.
Yeah.
Like I'm the person in control of those relationships. And when I flipped that switch around, my life, it was a game changer. But anyway, then that, and we find that money is always an obstacle. Especially now.
I mean, preach.
Yes. And time. We're not really sufficient time management people. Women. Did you learn time management in school? Like real time management, how to really schedule and be effective?
No.
Me neither.
Do you know what I think is the most pointless thing that I ever did in school was take an egg home and not break it? Did you ever have to do that?
And then
you had to care for an egg?
Did you do the whole blow out the...
Yeah.
Like you...
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
It will come out.
But why are we learning about taking care of an egg?
There is kind of good
responsibility.
Well, that's not really.
Really?
Yeah. Think of all the things we did.
But I could have learned how to write a checkbook.
Or didn't?
I did not. My
What?
grandma taught me that.
See, okay, and I'm dating myself, but I'm of a whole different generation. We definitely had that class where you learn how to write resumes. Cooking class
we had.
We had a mechanics class. We had art. I know some people don't
We
have
had
art
wood shop.
anymore. Wood shop. Yes. Home economics, where we learned how to
But
sew.
why aren't we learning how to do our taxes?
The practical things.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
time management, like
Or
you
time
said.
management. Or how about just how to carry yourself? How to introduce yourself? This is a pet peeve of mine.
Handshakes.
Eye contact. Handshakes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, a
Or
handshake.
this
I
way.
remember in first grade, my teacher went around the room and shook everyone's hands and was telling people, no, firm up and, do this and this. Every time I shake somebody's hands, I think of my first grade teacher.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay, so
It's a big bugaboo.
not to like totally get into my life, but you just made me
No,
think of something.
that's what we're doing.
Okay, that's
That's what we do at Adults
I'm
Rhymes.
gonna only let you in so far. No, I'm kidding. I homeschooled my kids for too many years, but in there we had a manners class, and they'd always go, "Oh my God, Mom, why are we doing a manners class?
Yeah.
The how to eye contact, what to say, what not to say, and then even more particular when you sit at a table." Especially a very formal table. What does all this mean?
Oh my God, would have loved to know.
All the flatware, all the whatevers. And they were like, Mom, what is... But now they're very thankful because now when they sit down, it's like, okay, we know exactly what fork and spoon and what we're supposed to do and what all this means.
I went to a gala last year. Gala. I don't know how you say it, but I went there and there was forks and spoons aplenty. And I was like, what do I touch?
It's like a booby trap.
Yeah. I need to know.
Yeah. Well, now you can just Google it.
Now I can Google it or TikTok it. I went to the Apple store and they were like, you can always call customer service. They were very nice, but they said, you can always call customer service. We're really supportive, really helpful. And I was like, oh, great. And he goes, I use TikTok as Google these days. And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Okay, that is not what I would recommend. I feel like I'm always constantly telling people TikTok is not.
People will say
real.
TikTok said. TikTok is not real.
Well, and now you can buy things on TikTok. And people are complaining because they're buying things from people they don't even know and they never got their merchandise, and it's been a whole thing.
Uh-oh. I mean, makes sense. Is it like an Etsy type?
I don't know, but I guess they recently did it where you can actually have a store on there. You can really go in and purchase things, but people are fine because, this is global, and with all the scams out there, I'm sure there are very reputable people, and I feel really sorry for the people who really have a legitimate business on TikTok because the other people are ruining it for them.
Yeah. That just seems, it's too much for me. TikTok is already just too much. I can't keep up.
You can't keep up. I cannot. When those dances first came out, I was like...
You will not catch me doing a dance.
I was like, what? I can't even do this, let alone put a video of myself.
Do you know what I love is the videos that come out on TikTok of people like 1992. This is how I was, TikToking or dancing. And it's just like so choreographed and like, I don't know. It's just such a different world we live in now. 20 years later, it's like these 12-year-olds look like 21-year-olds. And they're good and they've got moves. I didn't have moves. No one had moves.
I didn't have moves. I still don't have moves.
Okay, that's not true. I
need like 3 of these on the dance floor first.
Same. But you're a mother of 3. Did
4.
You say that? 4. Sorry.
Okay.
You were I saw on your Instagram you were celebrating one of your sons. How many sons do you have?
Oh, yeah. So you saw me dancing.
You do have dance moves.
My oldest
You are
son's
so
birthday.
cute. I love you.
I
was like, I commented. I was like, I love you. Is that too much?
No. And by the way, oops, sorry.
It's okay.
I had some of this.
Perfect.
I'm going to have some of this now. But yes, it was really fun. I mean, first of all, I'm very thankful that he invited me.
That is
Then
adorable.
and I know some of their friends because I've known them for a long time.
Yeah.
But it was fun just to get out and just see, okay, what is happening in this area, and then what's happening with people that are half my age.
Where did you guys go?
On Washington.
I love it.
Yay.
Were your shoes just sticking to the floor?
No, because we did. They had he had a section, and so we were up. We're sitting up on the bench.
Oh,
so I had a whole view of what was going on.
The people watching.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved watching what everybody was wearing, how they were dancing. Oh, and then the girls,
the bottle girls.
No, the bottle girls were there. I will say this: that one thing that really shocked me, and of course I'm dating myself, but when I was younger or just in my realm, it's kind of balanced. Girls and guys approach each other. I think we got to the point where it's like, okay, guys and girls. But what I noticed, it was the girls going up to the guys. It was almost like this, like a ritual. The guys are standing there and then the girls walk by and they're dancing and it's like kind of like, let me dance and walk by.
Show
and
off a little bit.
Do you like what you see? If you do, I'm going to keep going.
You know what it's called? It's called taking a lap.
Okay. Then that's what it was.
That's what me and my friends, and I think a lot of, I don't know, probably people, maybe not, maybe younger people. I'm 33, but like when we would go to Vegas to a huge club, daytime or nighttime, and we were like looking for, honestly, a cute guy to buy us a drink.
Yes.
We'd be like, let's go take a lap. And you'd walk by and you'd kind of like look for guys that you were attracted to and kind of, you know, was it like fluff your feathers, and you'd be pulled or not.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, why are the girls? I mean,
because don't even get me started. I'm sure your boyfriend is wonderful and your son is wonderful, but don't even get me started. You're wonderful too.
Oh God. I was like, why are the girls flaunting their stuff? I wanted to scream and be like, well, what do you have to offer? Like, what about the guys walking by? Or like, strut your stuff for the girls. Why are the girls having to walk by and work at it? I mean, work at it.
Yeah. Well, there are solely girls who are there to literally get hammered for free and like never talk to a guy again. So I do think that probably that's a dynamic too at a club. Cinco, is that kind of right-ish? Like a guy knows if you're walking. Yeah, he's nodding. Like a guy knows if you're walking by to like just get some of this bottle kind of thing. So, but how fun.
Oh, it was a blast. I had a really good time. It was fun.
I love that you were invited and that you went.
And then I had to laugh because when I said, well, what time are you guys starting? And of course,
11.
We're pre-function. Yeah. And I was like, well, I usually am in bed by 11. So I made sure my coffee I had at 3. My whole day was planned around like, I've got to stay up for this.
Oh my God.
I was impressed with myself. I think I stayed until about 1.
Wow. That is really impressive. I don't even stay till 1. If I'm not out by 9 or 9:30, I'm not going out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not starting something at 11.
Yeah, these guys were...
And I envy it. Good for you guys. Have fun.
It was fun.
Won't see me there. Okay, relationship coach.
Oh boy.
So you've dwindled it down to time, money, and self. Yes, those are like the 3 things you focus on.
Starts with self, yeah.
Self. I'm working on that.
We're all working on it.
And it's a work in progress forever, I'm sure. I love, though, that your first impression of me was like, good.
Yes, of course. And it's always been really good.
Okay, but you can also, I mean, I guess that's to say that like somebody can put on a good front or whatever, you know what I mean, and still be working through a million things. But
well, to be honest, I think everybody has a front on and they're all working on a million things. I think we have conditioned ourselves to, and this is, how are you doing? Fine.
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh, nothing. Like we have canned phrases all the time for just life's good. We're fine. I'm okay. Yeah. But deep down inside, we're not. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Which I can't stand that word busy, but we're conditioned to say certain things that aren't even really true.
What do you say instead of busy? I've got a lot going on. I
don't really even say I'm busy. Yeah. Or
but you have to be busy. You're busy.
I know, but that just sounds. It just sounds so like I don't know. I'm just so busy. Like.
Okay, it sounds a little hoity-toity.
Yeah, everybody's got going.
Everyone's busy.
Who doesn't have stuff going on?
100%. No, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. What's a better way to say? I just said that I was catching up with my girlfriend on my way to work today, and she's like, how have you been? And I'm like, I've been so busy.
How about just there's a lot going on?
Yeah, there's a lot
Or my schedule's very full right now. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes people use busy as an excuse, too. Can you do this? Oh, I'm so busy.
Right.
Like, really? Are you that busy? That you can't go do whatever,
right?
But
yeah,
we work it either way.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
My background, just feeling that way for many, many years in my first marriage. I feel like my heart just aches when I hear someone that either feels lost or isn't themselves stifled, doesn't get to be who they really are because they feel like they're living up to someone else's standards or expectations.
Yeah, I want to get into your first marriage in a few.
You don't want to get into it, but
no, I do want to get into it. Yes, but how does your program work as a relationship coach?
In different ways, but I would say the base of it and probably the most impactful is when someone signs up for our 6 months of working with us.
Okay.
And we have videos that you watch and a program that has exercises, and you get into a daily routine
Okay.
and then I call it an onion, and we just start taking off those layers.
Oh my God, I'm sure it's hard.
It's very potent when you get to the deeper layers, but it's an actual process that builds on itself, but you really begin with who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people don't even know who they are. And I was one of them. You would think many, many years of living. And when someone would stop you and really go, but who are you really? What do you like? What do you like doing? What do you spend your time with? What lights you up? Sometimes we don't even know what that is. Or what do you want to do in the future?
Right.
I don't know. I've been raising kids. Wasn't that my future? No. Raising kids is something that you're doing, but who are you as you're raising these kids?
Right.
I had it twisted. It was more like, well, I'm just a mom.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just a mom.
I mean, first of all, ever saying just a mom
I know,
is
but
wild.
You feel like that, like you're changing diapers and you're not getting sleep and all the things that happen. And sometimes you just feel like, where's my life really going right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of years of that. But
Okay.
So our program, it's the layers. It's going the deep dive of we start there. Who are you? What do you really want? And then let's work around some goals to get you to be who you really want to be.
Okay. And it's a 6 month.
It's a minimum of 6 months. I would say that. Well,
but the practice is ongoing and for the rest of your life, of
yes,
course.
But most of our clients, when they first do the first 6 months, they're like, I am so not done. I want to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it almost takes the 6 months to crack through years and years and years.
And you kind of start feeling good and ready and
you start to see you start to see how it's really affecting yourself and then your closest relationships around you.
Do you have a lot of clients that treat it as therapy, or do you have a lot of clients that do both?
Actually, ironically, we have clients that do both.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll kind of talk about the three. Therapy is more, let's go to the past and let's talk about things that have really traumatized you or that are affecting you now. Counseling is more like, like it says, counseling, let me help you figure out the best route to, work through your situation. Coaching is neither. It's not our opinions, what we think. It's very much intuitively, we all have the answers within, and it's helping you discover what that answer is. So instead of you going, again, the conditions, well, I'm supposed to go this way. Says who? And when you start unraveling and you start going, well, it's because my grandma told me when I was in 3rd grade that I was supposed to. Well, that doesn't mean that you have to really do that for the rest of your life. What if you want to go in a different direction? So we have stories that we've told ourselves for years that we're so unconsciously listening to all the time. I mean, have you ever just had something happen to you and all of a sudden it's like something spinning in the back of your head. And when all of a sudden you realize, you go, why am I listening to that negative Nelly in my head that is telling me the same negative thing over and over and over? But then when you listen, you realize that you go, that is literally controlling me right now.
Oh, 100%.
And we actively make choices based on those stories.
Yeah, my therapist tells me all the time. Well, actually, I've really improved, but she tells me all the time. I honestly have. Kudos to me. She tells me all the time that I need to be nicer to myself. Something will happen with the pod or at work or maybe a family member or a friend, and then I get in this cycle where I'm like, well, I shouldn't have said that, and I shouldn't have even opened that can of worms, and I shouldn't have done that, and then this wouldn't have happened. And she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Relax, lady. She can tell me relax. Like, I can't, just to make that very clear.
Or the shh. Yeah. Don't shush me.
Don't not shush me. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I've ever had anyone shush me before.
Oh, I did when I was younger a lot. Actually, when I was in 3rd grade.
I guess so.
I love my teacher from 3rd grade. I was in the back because when you're this tall, you're always in the back row. And then my last name is Valdenegro. So then obviously if it's in alphabetical order, but she always, and she, the greatest lady, but she had this bouffant hairdo. And she's Miss Johnson. And she all of a sudden turned around, Miss Valdenegro. The rest of the class does that. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was, and I'd get home.
You remember her?
Oh yeah.
She would have already had a phone call.
Yes. Or the little slips. You need to take this to your mother. And my mom, Yvette, why are
Oh
you
my
always
God.
constantly talking or so like, Mom, I just can't whisper. It's just or I'm like, I because I'm louder, she hears me, she doesn't hear everybody else talking.
Yeah, you get in trouble.
And I got in trouble.
How are you in group projects?
I'm not really good in group projects. I'm working on it. I have grown so much, but I was the person who I'll just do it by myself.
Yeah.
I would, even if there was
Do the
10
whole
people,
project
I
for
will
you.
do the whole project for everybody and bring it, or give me ideas and I'll put it together. It's a control thing.
Yeah.
Or it used to be a control thing. I learned that at a young age, that sometimes there's people you cannot rely on.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ever get in trouble. I was definitely one of those goody two shoes for up until age 17. And then that went to shit. But so I was very like, follow the rules.
Okay. Me too.
And following the rules means you get the job done. You do the assignment. If we're supposed to all get on the phone at 5:00 and talk about whatever it is, then you're supposed to do that.
Right.
But
and they said 30 minutes, not 15. We have to be on the call for 30 minutes, even though no one will ever know.
Yes, exactly. But then when you learn through living that not everybody does that, then you're just like, oh, this is not worth the stress. I'll just totally do this by myself.
I know. Sometimes I still feel like that. I'm getting better though. Again, growth.
I'm getting better too. When I walk in it's like when someone goes, oh, we're all going to work on this together. There is a part of me that goes, oh boy. And I just sit. Now I'm just a sit and listen. I just sit and I listen. And then when it's something that's either driving me crazy or I'm like, they don't see that if they don't turn right, they're going to fall off the cliff. Then I'll say, hey guys, what do you think about? I've learned to use better language too, instead of just, oh no, we're not going to. It's like, Yvette, nobody wants to hear the word no.
Right.
Say it in a gracious manner that is more appealing to the people that you're trying to, get to go right.
Right.
So I've learned. Yeah. And really, really
what does the name of your podcast remind me?
Redesigning your relationship.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys do your podcast live. Is that right?
Listen, this whole setup in here, I'm like, this is amazing. Yes, it's live. There's none of this amazing equipment.
I mean, you could also still get equipment. It'd be great, but you don't do any editing. Is that right?
So
way that would save me so much GD time.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the reason we like it too is like, you know what? We did this before. Why change it? And it is raw. And then people know that we're just real and we're just having a conversation. We're teaching, we're sharing, we're giving information, but it's really just us. And we don't do a lot of prepping either. Like we have a little bit of notes, and the slides I think speak for themselves in the sense of we kind of graduated to having like if we're going to teach you something, here's a little visual to look at.
Yeah.
But that's probably the most prepared we do, is just making sure that there's a visual that makes sense to what we're sharing.
Yeah.
But most of it is just off the cuff or what we've learned or what we're going through ourselves.
That's kind of what I'm doing with you here today.
And I love it.
Yeah. I do like to give people a little bit of an outline because I feel like it may ease their nerves. Someone who's not super, maybe people who haven't done a bunch of podcasts, they're like, well, what are the topics? Mm-hmm. And also though, I like to say like, this is just a general, like we may not talk about a single thing on this list. Like we may just go
off on some tangent. Which is fun.
Yeah. Not so fun, your first husband. Your first marriage.
And only husband, by the way.
Oh,
I'm not married twice. I've not
You're
been
not
married again.
Twice.
I haven't been married since then.
Are you totally against getting remarried?
No.
Okay. You're open.
I love the sanctity of marriage. I love everything about it. It's just that was not the right person.
Tell me everything. Tell the whiners everything.
All the whiners. What do you want to whine about? Okay, I think what people find most interesting is who we were as people as we were married.
Okay.
So we were pastors of a church, and I think that just goes.
You were also a pastor? That's what
when I have to laugh because in the state of Oregon, not so much because it's a very more liberal state. And so it's like, oh, are you ordained and all these things.
Right.
Here in the South, though, all of a sudden I got here and your first lady, Yvette. And I was like, who?
Oh my gosh. We have First Lady Yvette
walking
on Adultish Wines.
Yes, like the white gloves, I mean, it's just, it's Southern. There's just a Southern.
So Southern.
It's so Southern. So it was It was just different coming here because I'm like, oh my God, just the way people treated you is completely different.
Yeah.
But I think that's the most interesting part of it is like, well, how do two pastors or people in the ministry not make it? Or what went wrong? Or why did this, whatever.
Yeah.
And I will say this from the very beginning. I take 100% responsibility for the choices that I made. So the way that I feel is my own. So when I talk about him, it's more like yes, I could say he wasn't quite the person that I thought I was marrying.
Mhm.
And I'll give you an example. The church that we were affiliated with, it was a non-denominational
Uh-huh.
church. It's a worldwide ministry, actually. So has a lot of roots to it. A lot of people have known each other for years. I think that they're actually they still have churches. But it was, no sex before marriage and the purity, the sanctity of all that. Okay. Well, I was 100% a heathen before I became a born again Christian my senior year in college. And I walked into the church, by the way, with my ex-boyfriend I was still friends with. And I called him up and I said, hey, listen. So the quick story is my junior year, I went to a meeting that was like hundreds of people were there. This guy got up and shared, and I listened to him and I went, wow, that's really cool. I really like what he had to say. Even though it was just so religious, it was like, this is really interesting.
Okay.
Then we had this quad in the middle of Oregon State University, and my ex was actually open air preaching. And I just stopped and listened to him. And I went up to him.
What is open air preaching? Just like preaching, just
literally
just on the sidewalk. Yep. Wasn't asked to be there.
Nope.
Just talking what he believes.
And whoever wanted to listen.
There's a lot of those people in Washington. I don't know if you saw any. They're telling you to go home. They are telling you to go home while Washington.
I didn't.
I think they say like, I don't actually remember what they say, but like Jesus hates you, like if you're here or something.
But heathen, probably. You heathen!
Yeah.
You're gonna burn in hell.
Yeah.
So when I heard him speak again, I went, I was raised Catholic. I know the Bible, but the way you're talking about it, it seems so real. And I'd never heard anybody who would use a scripture and articulate it that I really felt like, wow, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. So it intrigued me. So I called my ex-boyfriend, who I knew he was a Christian, and I said, I kind of want to go. I don't know why, but I just want to go listen to more. I also had a sorority sister that had become a born-again Christian over the summer. And when she came back to school, I was like, you are not the same person. What happened to you? And we had very similar backgrounds. So I listened to her. Anyway, all this started coming together. When I went to church, I walked in and I was like, this is nothing I've ever experienced. It was non-denominational. It was very more charismatic, more like people raising their hands.
Chill.
No, it was people raising their hands. The music was lively. I grew up in a Catholic church. So to me, it was like,
I'm very uneducated about church.
Okay. In a Catholic church, there's no talking.
Okay.
So it was almost like, again, the Yvette, shh.
Oh.
Like be quiet.
Yeah. Okay.
An hour, in, out, and you're done. We're non-denominational churches, around 2 hours or whatever. Anyway, long story short, I kept going to that church. We started talking to each other. And the man that I would see in the pulpit preaching, because he was a pastor at that time, was not the man that was showing up at home once we were married.
Okay.
So that was the disconnect for me. It was, and there's a lot more to that.
Right.
We don't have 3 hours to go into like traumas on a honeymoon and literally I'll just say, I knew the night of my honeymoon.
I was going to ask, when did you find out that it was not what you thought?
The night of my honeymoon. Yeah.
So
I was in Hawaii in the bathroom, and imagine you're like the young woman who goes, oh, I'm so excited to be here. This is so great. But on the other end, you're thinking, oh my God, okay, so I've been a heathen my entire life, and now I'm going to go be with someone that I hadn't been with because we abstained from being together. And then just thinking, all of a sudden I started thinking to myself, I'm a bad person because I had sex before I got married to this guy, because that's what I was being taught,
right?
That sex is wrong. So when I tried sharing with him, like, hey, this is how I feel about it, it wasn't really well received. And lots of things happened that night that was not fun. And I literally said to myself, maybe I need to call my dad and say, can you send me some money so I can just come home and annul this, because this is not good. But being the good Catholic girl, I said to myself, I don't think God would have had me do something that was not in my destiny or something that I'm supposed to. So maybe this isn't what I think. Maybe there's something wrong with me and I'll just keep moving forward. Well, there were signs that kept happening and I should have listened to them. But then I have 4 kids. So kid number 1, then 2, 3, 4, ever kept happening. By the time my second child came, I realized like, this is a no-win situation. So you need to just give your life to your children and to the church and figure out a way to be happy.
Daunting.
It was
You were robotic.
Horrible. When I tell people, and by the way, I'll put a shameful plug. I am literally working on a book that's entitled, I already have the title, Behind the Veil, because the veil is like a symbol for the Old Testament. Only the people that were priests could go behind the veil to touch the sacraments.
Okay.
So that to me is symbolic to, yes, I was in the ministry, but it's also like I wore a veil. I was hiding because I couldn't be myself. So there was definitely, and I'm writing a book about it, but and I start the book off with the moment I knew 100% I died inside. It was an event.
Chills.
Where I could literally, like when your life kind of flashes, and I just remember I was actually on my knees, and I do remember looking up and just thinking, if I don't just do what this person is asking me to do or fake my way through this, it's never going to get better. So what if I just try being fake and in hopes that it does get better? Because again, you're being taught like God will answer your prayers. It's all going to be okay. Just keep being diligent, be the good, faithful wife, all those kinds of things. So I'm like, you know what? Eventually this will get better. And I'll prove to him and to everybody else
your loyalty and that you are with it.
That I'm with it. But it never got better. And we learned to live a life of just going through the motions and being what everybody thought we should be for what they saw. But there was no relationship at all behind the scenes at all.
Wow.
And to this day, if you ask my children, they never saw us being affectionate. They never saw us kiss. It was basically just a man and a woman living together, going through the motions.
So you went on to, you kind of found this out, or you made the decision at child 2 to just go with it, basically.
Yeah.
You had 2 more children. How long were you with him? How long were you married?
Till my oldest was, I think, 13.
Okay.
And I think the youngest was 6 is when I said, I want to get a divorce.
How did you get the
balls?
Yeah. How did you, what was the deciding factor?
I think, the deciding factor, you go through guilt. You go through shame. You go through, am I really worthy? Is God going to love me? Am I really being a Christian if I'm feeling so much pain inside? And really the pain comes from when you're rejected from someone all the time, or they walk in, or they treat you like, I'll give you an example. My best friend, we were living in Austin, and my best friend at the time, it was Mother's Day, and she runs up. Well, actually, I had all the kids. I got them out of children's church. She comes up to all of us. We're standing there, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, so-and-so, you've got the most beautiful wife ever. Are you not just so excited and thankful that you're married to her?" And the look on his face, he just kind of goes like that. And I thought to myself, this isn't the first time he's done that. It's not the first time. And actually I went to her later and I said, why would you even do that to me? You know that what goes on behind the scenes. That was so embarrassing. And it just confirmed like, God, this just sucks, because he can't even. Yeah, it's like you just got thrown the bone and you didn't even take it, right?
Right.
So little things like that always happened. And I'd just be like, God, this is just horrible. So one day, we're in Houston by the time this all happens. I just walk up to him and we'd have been arguing and fighting and, all the things that happen in marriages. But I literally just went, I just want you to be honest with me, please. Do you even love me? And we were in the bathroom and he turned around and he looked at me and he goes, Yvette, if I tell you yes, then I'm lying to you and God. If I tell you no, then I'm dishonoring God. And I looked at him and I said, I don't need to hear anymore. And that was, again, the point when I just went, what am I doing? Do I really want to be married and living this facade with someone who ultimately just doesn't even love me?
No.
Not at all. And that's when, and by the way, I grew up in a family where my mom and dad 100% said, you question authority, you figure out the answers. If something doesn't work and is not working inside and that there's something inside of you, you figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
But that was all crushed. It was like, that's not what we do. We don't question our pastors. We don't ever question God. He's totally in control of everything. And so all those the internal things that I had learned as a young woman were just completely like, you can't be that person because you're not going to be loved or accepted as that person. You have to be conformed to the standards in which are around you. So that's when I just went, no. And then once I said that in my head, it was almost like glasses came off and I started to see how my kids were being affected, how they're being raised. And I just went, I don't want them in this environment. I don't want them thinking that this is the way that's supposed to be. And I definitely don't want them to think that this is what marriage is, because this is not what marriage is.
Right. Or love.
Or how you should be treated as a person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very, very difficult. And I went through years of feeling the shame and the guilt and, like, oh my gosh, what have I done to my children? And this is going to be so hard. And it was difficult. But now that even though we still all have hurdles to go over, and even though I'm still working on myself and growing as a person, I am so thankful. And I remember the day that I told him when we finally decided, like, yes, we're going to get a divorce. He looked me in the eyes and he goes, I'm not giving you a damn thing. So you better know that you have to fight for everything you'll ever have. And I looked at him and I said, I would much rather live in a cardboard box with nothing than live with you one more day. There's the door.
Yes.
And he was gone. And that was it.
Yes.
Yay!
Yvette. Oh my God. How powerful.
Yeah. And and so now again, that goes back to why I love what I do, because I'm like, I know that someone may not have that extreme or even worse, right? But that feeling of you don't get to be yourself or valued for who you are. No freaking way. No way. No one should live a life where we're all worthy of getting the best, being our best versions of ourselves.
And also just respect.
And respect.
We're all deserving and worthy of respect.
Yeah.
Every human, every animal.
Yes. 100%. And it's not, and I always think if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's not easy. It's not easy being a single mom. It's not easy raising 4 children. I'm not saying, my life was just cake. No, but at least I get to live. Now I get to live and make my own mistakes and venture out and be like, you know what?
What a beast.
I don't know if I'm a beast, but
I think so.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Worth the journey.
Yeah. How was the aftermath with your children? Like, as they've gotten older? I mean, obviously they're all adults at this point.
Yeah.
Was there resentment there towards you?
I was the bad apple for a long time. They didn't, they're younger. They were 6 to 13. And in their mind, because what they were told also was your mom's lost it. In fact, my mother-in-law asked me to go get my hormones checked and she tried to be very gracious. She just said, Yvette, a lot of women start to get maybe early menopause. Maybe this is a hormonal thing. And I looked at her and I said, this is not a hormonal thing, but just for you, I will go get a hormone test. I did it. I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to her. And I said, this is just to show you this is not, and I know it's hard to hear, but this is not what's going on. This marriage is over.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was hard. My kids, for the longest time, I was the bad person because they still went to church. He's still involved in a church. So all they ever heard was, divorce is wrong. Your mom is wrong. She's not being a Christian anymore. I mean, I had old friends of mine that were friends for years tell me, I don't even know if you're a Christian. Like, okay. And I believe that. I was really like, well, maybe I'm not. I don't believe that anymore, but I would say to myself,
Right.
maybe I have
Maybe
gone
they're
off
right.
maybe they're right, but that's okay. I'll if I go to hell, I'll pay the price for it, I guess. I don't believe that worth shit anymore, but it's hard when the very people that you used to help turn on you, and I didn't have any more friends. I was basically just left to myself. And that was the world that I knew. But the kids,
what a lonely place to be.
It's a
that
very
could have
lonely
gone,
place to be.
I'm sure there's been so many other people in a similar position who have been in that lonely position and not been able to get out. That's what makes me really sad.
Yeah. I know, me too. And so now the kids, we're all working through it. And by the way, we're all going to therapy right now. It's taken, I've asked them for years.
Individually?
No, as a family, myself and the 4 kids.
Oh.
And I asked them for years, guys, let's just work through this. Like, let's get someone who's a professional.
Yeah.
And let's just really work through some childhood stuff that you guys were affected by. And I used to tell them all the time, if I, as an adult, went through the stuff that I went through, and I had to work through that you would think a mature brain, I can't even imagine how you guys coped with being kids. And, kids are powerless. They just do what they're told, and they're so innocent. And I'm like, I'm sure there's things that we need to work through, and let's just get rid of the past so that we can all move forward and live our amazing lives. So
that's great.
We're in therapy, and I highly recommend therapy to anybody who ever feels like they need it.
Same.
Yeah.
I think it should be, I hate to say the word required because I don't think we should be required to do anything, but I think it should be introduced to people at a young age and really encouraged to take part in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, even if you grow up in a pretty lovely, and even you get older and you look back and you're like, no, I had a seemingly pretty good childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's good to talk to somebody that doesn't care about you in a personal way.
Yeah, that you're not going to see at Thanksgiving.
Not going to see at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. And just talk.
Just talk, even if nothing's wrong. Sometimes I go into therapy and she's like, how's it going? And I'm like, I have nothing really to talk about. And of course I get to talking, but like nothing was pressing, nothing is immediate. It's just good to talk to somebody.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And I think that communication is become a lost art.
Yeah. Same Z's.
I'm serious. The minute the phone came around, it was like, text this, text that. It's like short sentences. Everything's,
Yeah. I did see this TikTok. I think it was of somebody doing a TED Talk though. And he said, basically it was, by having your phone out at lunch, even upside down like this, you're really saying everything is possibly more important than the other person that you're with, or even the alone time that you granted yourself, because you're going to hear it vibrate. You're going to hear it go off, or eventually you're going to have a habit to
turn it on.
To be like, oh, what time is it? Oh, do I have any notifications or do I have any something? And I thought to myself, how can I, because obviously technology, social media, and text messaging and contact communication it's so here. It really is. But how can I try and be a little bit better about not having my phone out? You know what I mean? Like, I need to get a clock for the podcast or a monitor to put any notes on that I have rather than that, because I do feel like I'm talking to some people sometimes and I'm looking at something I want to say and it's here, and it could come off as dismissive or something like that. But I thought it was a good little tidbit.
I always feel like when someone's on the phone and they do that, I always feel like, are you listening to me?
Right.
Because to be honest, when I'm on my phone and someone's talking, there's probably 75% of me that's checked out. And I'm constant, because you get older, it's like, okay, multitasking is not the same.
Stop saying you're aging yourself and you're getting older.
Well, I am. So you look, you're like, okay, I can't concentrate on here and you. So 25% I'm listening, but it's only 25% of me.
Right.
I am literally looking on my phone, trying to, like, what time was I supposed to do the?
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? Like, yeah. So you're really not listening to the person when you're on your phone.
Right.
It's a handy gadget. My entire world is on my phone.
And you have it on your watch.
And I have it on my watch. This is like just, I don't know. I just like stuff on my wrist too. It is on.
But it is
It
just
is on.
at the ready.
It's on the ready. But I don't really have it doesn't have the notifications
Oh,
where
okay.
it's buzzing and doing all the things. It's more of a actually, what I do like about this is that when my phone does ring, I know who's calling, and it's a lot more casual to be like, I'm not, because I kind of have a personal rule that the people who, my kids, my boyfriend, and my business partner are the people that I pick up the phone for.
Okay.
Outside of that, I'm like, I can call back later or figure out what's going on. But I feel like it's one of my kids and I'm very quick to say, hey, what's going on? If it's, hey, I'm with someone, I got to go. Okay, bye.
Right.
That's it.
And something that I've tried to stop doing is apologizing for not being able to answer or respond quickly, which is hard because it's just very habitual.
Yes.
I'm like, sorry, I was in the shower. Sorry, I was on the phone with somebody else. Why am I sorry?
Why am I sorry? Yeah. Life happens.
Yeah. But I don't know, kind of back to what you said at the beginning of the podcast, you're kind of introduced to these things, these conditions, and if it's you know what I mean? You're just, I don't know why I ever thought to say sorry. Apologize for my behavior all the time. If it affected you at all, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
Please forgive me.
I'm sorry. And when you meet someone that says sorry all the time, after a while, don't you go, oh my gosh, why are you so sorry about everything?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a nervous habit. People, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
That's the first and only marriage.
Are you still involved in church?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. And not because I don't want to be. I just don't. I haven't. I mean, I tried. There was one church that we as a family, me and my 4 kids were going to, that we really, really liked. But some things happened and we started seeing again the conditions. Like, if you do this, then you're accepted. If you do this, then you're not accepted. I'm like, that's, in my mind, that is not the God I love and serve. God is not conditional.
But you still consider yourself faithful in...
I am... What
would the term be?
To be honest, I don't even know. I'm a Christian. I do believe in Jesus. I do believe in God. But I also, to be honest, am so much more open to more concepts of there's a universe. I mean, universe... Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Universe that God created. I think he's actually bigger than what we...
Spiritual.
It's, more spiritual. I also am very much into energy, and that at the molecular level, we're all energy consistently.
Yeah.
But we're cells that are just put together full of water, and we're all vibrating, and we've all got sound vibrations and all kinds of stuff. So that's why, like, when you meet someone, you go, like when I met you, like, oh my God, I love their vibe, because you're feeling and sensing something from that other person.
Yeah.
And so now my spirituality is more being intuitive and in tune to that way of being, not necessarily like only what the Bible is saying, but it's like there's a whole world out here to experience. And so my spirituality has grown. Like, I can sense God or the world or the universe in just being outside. Or meditating or reading or journaling or doing other things that I feel connected to that source.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I have felt more connected to the actual God of the universe now than I ever did being in the ministry. Wow. And that is weird to me.
That is weird to you. I believe you.
I don't know, weird is the right word.
I believe you. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that you were really just going through the motions as well.
And it could be.
At both.
But I did have points in that time where I will say this. I went to meetings. I saw people. I saw people's health change. I saw marriages come together. Like, there were amazing things that happened that you do, like what you would call little miracles, right? I think the way that it was taught and the conditions behind it were not, but I always feel like even within maybe saying things that aren't great, there's always good that comes out. Or that even though it's maybe not exactly the way God would intend people to do certain things, he's still going to work with it. It's like amazing things still were happening. And I did see that. But now I just feel like the glasses are off. So it's not so judgmental or not so, I guess, conditional and more loving, or coming from a place of, gosh, before I point the finger at someone else, I really need to figure out, like, what am I doing? Did I contribute? How did I receive that? Or is there something I could have done? Or can I be?
And there's not just one pathway to get to
No.
the answer.
No.
And there's maybe multiple answers for everyday things in life.
Yeah, 100%. And then I always think too, there's a whole other world out there that different religions, different way of looking at things. But the most incredible thing is that I would say 99.9% of them, there is an ultimate higher being.
Mm.
So you kind of go, well, we all sense that.
Right.
How someone's going to articulate that, I guess, is their choice.
Yeah. People ask me, especially through dating, people will ask if I'm religious or some phrase like that. And I say I'm not religious. I guess I would say I'm spiritual, but I do hesitate because I am spiritual. I don't know that I don't know. I know that there's something up there. One of my sisters is Buddhist. Like I love learning about all different types of religion, but
Mm-hmm.
I do have a little bit of an issue with an organized religion in any sense of, and I don't know where that comes from because I didn't grow up. I think I grew up going to like Easter egg hunts at church. You know what I mean? Like probably because there was like free food and we were poor and hungry. But we didn't really go to church. I didn't have a bad experience with church or with God or with Jesus or anything like that. And as I would meet people growing up, I would go to their church and I would go to try a different kind of church. And I have been to a Catholic church and Christian church. And I don't know. I have a hard time. People say, what is it? God wouldn't give you more than you can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know, guys.
He's giving me a lot.
I don't know, guys. He gives a lot of people a lot more than they can handle. You know what I'm saying? Like, could that person needs a break?
Yeah.
God, put it to somebody else who can handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so you asked me if I'd been to church. I haven't really been to church, but I was at a podcasting conference a month and a half ago, I think.
Oh my gosh, you sent me that invite or let me know about it. Yeah. And I honestly looked at it and I was like, I just don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I would do.
I know. So I went into, because we had this thing called the Fireside. And so it was more like a welcoming. So it was fun. It was great. But, I got to share or whatever. But so before each day got started, they had music and someone was praying. And it's been such a long time since I've been in that environment. But when I got in there, I realized, I said to myself, this is just another form of meditation.
Yeah.
This is mantras, or when you're singing a hymnal, a lot of those choruses, they're repeating it over and over. What's the difference? It's you're just singing a mantra, right?
Yeah.
Or even a meditation.
Oh, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about a church is the singing, the gathering of people together, or I don't know what you would call it, but the people up there performing.
It's just the worship group, I guess.
The worship group, shout out.
Yeah, so
it's beautiful. And to see that people believe in it, so even, in dark times, people really rely and I do think that's beautiful. I really do.
Yeah. Or it's the unity factor. Again, it's everybody's energy, everybody's being, everybody's vibe is all thinking about, well, in different degrees, but the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're all seeking the same thing.
Yeah.
Asking, wanting, desiring. That's no different than when you meditate and you're like, I'm going to visualize my future as, or I'm going to visualize, or I'm going to think about these. What's the difference?
Right.
It's just a different form. So now I'm very much into all those different forms because, again, the growth, the change, who I've become is so much more dynamic and so much more powerful than anything I'd ever, as a personally myself, with inside of me. So, I saw things, but the person, the strength, and of course I'm older now too. And I was, when you're younger, it's kind of like you just, oh, the wind's going this way, the wind's going that way. This sounds good. That sounds good. So it's just different.
It's just different, and we grow and evolve. Yeah, I think as long as it's not when things feel culty.
Yeah.
That's when I get. After my mom passed away, she passed away in 2014. I used to live in Manhattan Beach, California, and I went to the beach. I was going to the beach a lot, obviously. But these two people came up in such a forceful manner Obviously, they had no idea what was happening, but I was with one of my girlfriends, and they walked up and they were like, trying to spread the word of the Lord, is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my friend and she's like, it's not a good time. Thanks, guys, And they were like, well, but if you just, and I looked at her again because I was just in a really bad space. She's like, we appreciate it. It's just not a good time. And they were like, but if you just give us a chance, and started talking about how God wouldn't give you more than you can handle. And do you have some, like a bunch of, I don't remember all the words, but like really shoving it down my throat, our throat.
What you just got
and of
through.
course they didn't know. And I remember I looked up and I said, I mean, my mom just fucking died. You think that he would give me like a fucking break? Like after all the fucking shit I've gone through, you think that he did that on purpose? And they were like, we're so sorry for your loss, and walked away. I was like, I mean, you made me do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And again, they had no idea, and they were just doing what they felt called to and felt was right and stuff like that. But I was just like, I don't know. It just felt forced and fake to me.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. And again, it's like, you want to go read the room. Like, she literally just said, this isn't a good time. Then go, you know what? Okay.
Right. But it's like they were going to get me to talk to them about what they wanted me to talk to. Like, and that's where it feels like you're making me do something I don't want to do.
Yeah. And I think that comes from, it's very much taught if you're a disciple of the Lord, that you're going to be a witness, which means you're going to go and share your faith with other people. And for some churches and groups, that is very heavily taught. And for others, it's like, just do it with your life, right? Just be a witness of who you are, and people be attracted, like, hey, you're kind of like, what's going on with you? Oh yeah, I love God. Okay, great. Tell me more. Versus, like you just said, it's coming down, it's being shoved down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
But there is both. There's that wide realm of people that are like that.
Right. And again, I'd love to hear people's stories about how I just met someone and she said she's been with her husband for however many years, and she goes, God is so good. I thank him every day for bringing this amazing man in my life. And I felt like I was like, oh, I love that.
Yeah. Because it's genuine.
I love that. Yeah, that made me so happy to hear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm just spiritual.
And that's fine.
I'm like a bitter spiritual person.
No, and this, like, I always think, like, it's not for me to judge someone else's spiritual journey, or for me to tell you what you should or should not be doing. Or you're going to go to hell if you did it. I'm not God.
Yeah.
I've never been to hell.
Right.
I mean, I felt like I went to hell, but I haven't been to hell. I haven't been to heaven. I haven't come back. No one has ever been there and come back. So nobody totally knows. And why are we sitting here trying to guilt someone into, you bad person, you? We don't know. But how about this? Just do your best. And if you're feeling called to be more spiritual, then be more spiritual. If you're not, or whatever, you want to go ask more questions or go seek, then go seek. Mm-hmm. If that's truly what you are feeling inside. But yes, don't come shove it.
No shoving down
my throat. Or, yeah. That's it. There's a lot there. Again, that's why, like, eventually when my book is done, I don't want to. This is the thing. I don't want to. It's not like, I'm not trying to say don't be a Christian or don't follow this way or whatever. It's more like, this is just my personal experience. And like the word that you use, cult, I didn't want to use that, but that was definitely,
you can blame it on me.
I definitely feel like that's what it was. If someone's controlling you enough that you're being shamed to be a certain way, that is cultish. If they're discouraging you from being around your family and your friends that are not a part of the group, that is a cult. I will say that loud and clear. Like, because I know that there may be someone listening that if they feel like, oh my gosh, that's where I am right now, they don't want me to be with, that also is a form of abuse.
It's 100% a form of abuse.
If someone out there if you've been told, don't call that person, don't tell them our business, you can't be around them anymore, they're not like us, any of those kinds of terms, find someone who can help you. Because that is not, you're not in a safe space.
I had a friend many, many years ago who the boyfriend at the time, there was just so many things about this person I just had a bad vibe for. I expressed it once and it wasn't welcomed. And it ended up being a problem through our friendship because I just couldn't see my friend be treated like this. It was really hard and it definitely drove a wedge. And then I had to sack up basically. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to never say anything about it again. And I'm just going to kind of go through life with it. Eventually, he wanted to move to the literal middle of nowhere. They almost moved to the middle of nowhere. Thank God something happened and they broke up. But I was like, this is his plan. Why don't you see it? This man is crazy and he wants you in the middle of nowhere with no neighbors around and he's turning you against all your friends and family.
Yeah.
And thank God. I mean, and now like we had to like go back to that subject after they were broken up for many years. We had to go back to that subject and talk about like, I was like, I mean, you treated me poorly when I was just trying to save your fucking life, you know? Yeah. And she's like, I know, but like, I couldn't see it. You don't see it.
No, you don't. And you want so badly you want it to work. And then you always think it'll get better. I can't tell you how many times I just be like, no, it'll get better. It'll get better. It'll get better. I excuse so many things. And I mean, I'm not going to beat myself up for now, but yeah. I totally understand the person that can't see through again, abuse is like a great example of that is not the way you should be treated at all. That is not care, love, concern, and in your best interest. And that person is definitely not treating you well.
No.
And you can't see it. And it's not even like, because people are like, well, do you feel like maybe you're like your own self-identity, you just didn't feel really good about yourself? And I'm like, no, when I met this person, I felt great about myself. So it wasn't that I didn't feel like I got into something because I wasn't feeling like a good person or something. It was just over the years or wanting to make something work or that you genuinely care about the other person that you're like, again, it'll get better or that's okay or I'll excuse it.
Right.
But in all reality, no, ma'am. And it's hard. And I always think like, if someone would have asked me early on, hey, if I give you the green card to get out, will you do it? I wouldn't have taken it.
Right.
I know I wouldn't have. I know I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, no, it's going to get better. Or I could never do this to my family or to God. Like, are you kidding me? And now I completely look at that different, but I understand that that's how that's how you feel inside. And you don't, the fear gets into you too, as far as like, well, what will happen to me if I decide to go in an opposite direction? Because then you think all the unknowns
that people tell you will happen.
Oh my God. Yes. And it's scary. It's almost like when someone gets pregnant and all of a sudden oh my God, I'm pregnant. And all of a sudden you hear all the horror stories of people being pregnant. It's like, please close your ears because that is a small percentage of the population because obviously there's babies being born every single day.
Yeah.
And you're going to be fine.
Right.
But don't listen to the horror stories and it's unfortunate that there are horrible stories, but don't let that consume you because it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
We just got really deep. You have a bottle?
I actually have been thinking about that. I need to get some sort of little table with like an ice bucket because we do typically run out. Okay, and so now you have a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Such a happier discussion.
I know. We're probably close to coming to time, but how was that for you to be okay with moving on or finding happiness or letting yourself, I don't know, like letting yourself kind of start over in that way? Was that so
It was not hard. I'm not going to lie.
Stop.
I think because I had, it's like you work yourself up. I can just only imagine the person who's been in an abusive relationship when you finally said it enough and you stand up and you go, stop hitting me, right?
Yeah.
You got to the point where there was other stages that happened before you got there.
Right.
So I feel like by the time I knew we were not going to be married, I had already gone through like the changes of, man, I just want to live again and meet new people. And like, there's a whole world out there. So, I mean, I started actually seeing people before I even signed the dotted line and I didn't even give a crap. I was like, I'm going to go meet people.
You're going back to your heathen stage.
Yeah, I was back to There's been many years. And to be honest, I will say there's two descriptions. I say like almost like a caged animal who's been let out.
Okay.
They go butt shit crazy,
Uh-huh.
right? My mom used to say, you're like a butterfly that someone put you in a jar. And then when the jar came off, you're like, oh, now I can go to flower to flower to flower to flower, figuring out like which flowers do I like. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of think that that's what happened. I kind of went a little crazy, but it's like, I'm free.
Yeah.
I can go experience, I can breathe, I can meet new people. And so that's what I did. I just met a lot of, met people and just for kind of like, what do I like? And rediscovering again, what do I enjoy and whose company do I really enjoy being around? And so, to be honest, I made a lot of dumb mistakes. Did a lot of stupid crap that I swear to God, I'm so thankful that my kids will never find out.
Because you're not going to write about it in your book?
Well, I don't know. It's not
they're fine.
It's not so much the things. It's just more like I just think if one of my kids were my mom, I just did. I'd be like, you did what? You know, I remember thinking, oh my God, if my parents even knew what I was doing right now, they'd be like, shoot me. That's not what we raised you to. Rah, 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 rah. But I also feel like it was like a pendulum. I was way over here and I felt like I went
way the other way.
There, and then I balanced myself out with like, okay, that's not how I want to live my life, but it was sure freaking fun to experience all the things that I did. I really have, it was crazy, but I have no regrets because every single person I met, either I went to myself, what a great person, and I learned so much from you, or not a great experience, and I'm learning this is not what I want. So I finally landed on the person that I'm with now, who is diabolically different than any other person that I was dating at that time.
Okay.
But I think it's because I realized there's a difference between like, I think like this is in my head, the check boxes of all the what I thought that I was attracted to, right? Mm-hmm. But then when I met this person that I'm seeing now, I went, he's so diabolically opposite, but it's truly what my inner person needs and wants and feels good about.
Yeah.
And he's so supportive.
Aww.
And I'm like, this is to me before, if I wanted to say, I may get up on the table and dance. Like, okay, like the video that we were talking about earlier that you saw, right? Yeah. You saw a video of me dancing with my son. Before, Yvette, what are you doing? Get off the table. He's more like, I guess, go for it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm here if you fall. Like have fun.
Aww.
And he may not get on the table and dance, but he's not going to go, don't do that. It's more like, okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I've matured, but it's more like it's a great friendship.
Yeah.
And it's at a whole different level. And to be honest, I think I was a lot more materialistic too. So the people that I was seeking or being around, they're very much.
All right, stop reading my mind. Get out of my head.
Are you dating someone? Are you into that too? Or
I feel like I need to just change my, go for something that I just would never go for before.
Try it. And here's the thing, even if it doesn't work out, you met someone that is completely different than what you're used to. And it might just open up the avenue to you just bring, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
But we're tall.
Okay, so I'll just be honest. The people that I used to be so attracted to were professional athletes. Is that your thing too? So I'm like, but this isn't, there's patterns, right? And hi, professional athletes that are out there that might be listening. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just, and by the way, the ministry that we came from, like my ex, we used to minister to professional athletes. My father was a football player. My brother played football. Everybody in my life I played sports. Everybody in my life had played sports. So it wasn't like I was deviating and doing something I wasn't used to. It was like I hung out with.
It's what you knew.
It's what I knew. But I also, because I knew so much, it really helped and didn't help. But I then I started realizing like you're attracted to this because this is all you've ever known, but that's not really what your heart is desiring.
Oh my God, I gotta find out what my heart's desiring. All right, I've got some food for thought.
Are you on a dating app or anything?
I just got off, but yeah.
Okay, why did you get off?
I hate them all.
Okay, so being in the wedding industry, I saw the transformation 15 years ago when I started in the wedding world. There was no dating apps.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we went to school together. We met in college. We met with Bible studies, whatever. I remember the first time someone ever said to me, "Oh, we met online." What?
Right. And it was like, hush, hush. It's like, don't talk about
No one ever. Now it's the norm.
It's the norm. But people aren't on it for genuine reasons. People are on it for attention. They're not, I don't know.
But everybody says that. So there's got to be.
There are so many success stories. I know people that are married from apps. I love that for them. I try. I'm taking a break.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I'm being a little passive aggressive to people. See? Self-recognizing. I'm recognizing that I'm being a dick. My therapist actually told me, she's like, you need to take a break. You're
from dating.
Crazy. The way that you're. I mean, I'm not being rude, but I'm like, I'm just like, it's on repeat, just like the disappointment, the irritation, the this, the that.
Okay, so my question to you would be, do you think it's you
100%.
that are attracting that? Okay, because and it's kind of like you get in a cycle or almost like, what is it? Who am I being that is attracting that?
Yeah, I talk to my girlfriends and it's crazy because I can say that for example, someone asked to take me on a massage date for a first date, which I thought was weird. But 6 weeks prior, one of my girlfriends went on a massage date as a first date. No one said anything to her about that. They all thought it was very normal because we're just very different people. Like, they were like, oh my God, fun, enjoy. And I knew that if I said that, it would be taken as like, what the heck are you doing? Because those are the people that I attract. It really has nothing to do with me or the friend who was invited on the date. Mm-hmm. It has everything to do with the people that I attract and the people that I involve myself with. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I kind of just realized that in this very moment talking to you. But yeah, it is. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Interesting.
Oh my God.
So your resolve is to take a break.
My resolve is to take a break and to try and meet people in person for a little bit naturally and not put pressure on myself and let people know that I'm open to being set up with good quality humans. And I am busy. I do have a lot going on. I'm very busy, which is true, but I'm trying to like grow my brand and excel in a lot of areas. I do have my hands in a lot of different pots and I love it and I want to continue doing that, but I don't have time to like continue dealing with the same patterns. I need to like break the pattern. So that's what I'm doing now, hopefully.
Okay, so when let's just say you're at H-E-B.
Yeah.
And you're in the grocery store line and you see someone.
I'm told I'm not supposed to approach a man like that because they just think that I want to have sex with them. And even if I don't give off that vibe, they know that that's the vibe.
Wait, who told you that?
Every single man. Is that the vibe, Cinco?
Do you have like call-ins? Do you have like, can people respond to all this? Because I'm like, what?
That's what.
Are you serious?
Most of my guy friends have told me.
That's just an automatic, you want to have sex with me?
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, but I'm not going to. I'll just give them my number. And they're like, but they're just going to go
Okay, so let's reverse that. So should every woman think that just because some guy comes up to her that they just want to have, well, it's guys.
I mean, but do you think that, yeah?
The minute I started saying that, I was like, wait, that.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
I mean, but guys think differently. Well, I don't know. All women think differently. That's just so wrong.
It's a shit show, which is why I'm taking a break.
But that's so wrong because that is the most genuine way. I'm just going to be real right now. I talk to everybody in the grocery store line. And I'm seeing someone.
What do you say? What do you say?
Just some stupid. I mean, like, it could just be like, oh, hey. Or like, oh, I'm so sorry. Or like, oh my God, I like your shoes. Or like, what? It could be women or men. I just have this natural. I'm going to be like, I'm not talking to anybody.
I do too, though.
I love your shoes, but I don't want to have sex with you.
No, I do too. But I just, I have a hard time. I can approach anyone. I'm a people person. I love people. I love talking to people. Not awkward at all. Weird, but not awkward. I can't talk to somebody I'm attracted to in that I don't know. I can't approach somebody. But I'm trying to. I just did it last weekend. I'm really proud of myself. So I'm trying. Just trying new things.
Okay, here's a fun fact. This is how I know that I'm really into the person I'm seeing. I don't ever see anybody that I'm attracted to anymore. Isn't that crazy? And you know when you're out and about and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Or like you're in a restaurant and you're like, and they could be with someone else, but you just think to yourself, oh, that's a good looking guy, or wow. I mean, maybe, okay, let me rephrase that. I do see attractive people, but not like that thing inside of you that just kind of goes, or like you kind of want to risk it and go, if I smile, will they smile back? You know, that kind of shit. Like that doesn't even cross my mind ever anymore. I know. And again, Heathen. The title should be Yvette Valdenegro, The Heathen.
Oh, it's going to be. It's going to be. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, we have gone over a lot.
We have gone over a lot.
I'll keep you updated.
Please do. Hey, are you coming next? Wait, Wednesday? We'll talk later.
Okay.
We got a holiday party. I definitely want you to go to.
Okay.
And by the way, can I give a shout out?
Please.
Okay, I'm going to give a shout out. She's going to die. And I'm going to be like, you will only know this shout out came because...
Wait, I know who it is. Before you even say it.
Because if you actually listen to this whole thing, then you're going to hear the shout out. And when you're going to come to me and go, oh my God, Mom, my daughter, Simone, she listens to your podcast all the time. So when I told her I was going to be, she's like, no way. So now I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we'll see if you actually listen to my episode. If you actually listen to it all the way to the end.
Do not tell her. She has to listen.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for her to say
something.
something.
Yay. I loved her. I hung out with her all night at the event. One of the events I was at.
I know. So she's going to be at the next one. So that's what all of a sudden I just thought that.
I thought you were going to say the shout out was your friend, and I forget her name, but she was lovely. And she was the girl who I shared a charcuterie board with. She, I think, took over your event, your wedding.
Oh, my cousin Jenny.
Jenny!
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about my chin. I actually have to tell her because I think she said she wanted something with her chin, and I'm going to go get chin lipo.
Really? No, you're not.
Anyway, yes, I am.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Well, they just suck it out.
Literally, what?
I think I have surface fat, not under the muscle fat, so it's just going to be suck it out.
Is that
expensive? Yes. Invasive? Yes.
You're going to be out for like a couple days kind of thing?
One day. Wrapped up for a week, one day. My friend and I are going to do it together, actually. It's like friendship bracelets. And we're going to do a podcast.
Look, we both have... Is there a scar? Do they leave a scar?
Tiny. Tiny.
Well, who looks underneath your chin?
It's the least of my worries. I'd rather have skinny chin. Anyway, Yvette.
It's so funny.
This is so funny. Are you like, I'm scared. I can't believe I did her podcast.
Only,
she hesitated.
Only after I get the... was that really you on that one podcast? Yes, I was. But you know what's good about this? You know when you've been like, this has been evolving, right? So for me to actually hear the words out of my mouth, I can guarantee you 10, 15 years ago, I would have never shared what I shared today. Now I'm just like, it's my life. It's what I went through. It doesn't matter. And I'm not mad at anybody. I don't have any ill feelings, but it's reality. And the thing is, again, like I said in the beginning, I don't want anybody else to feel that way anymore. So if somebody can connect with it and go, you know what? I do feel that way. I want to get out, or I do want to call that person. Would love to have a conversation with Yvette, or, oh my gosh, I'm interested in their coaching program or whatever, because it works.
Yeah.
And you don't have to live one more day feeling the way that I know I did.
I'm inspired. Maybe what I probably should be doing to break the pattern is not getting chin liposuction and probably doing your program. But we all make bad decisions.
One step at a time. Go do that first.
I'll do the chin.
Because you're already excited about that. And then your next round will be like...
And it all starts with yourself. And I'm going to be my best self with my new
best chin. There you go. I love it.
I love it.
When are you doing this?
January.
Oh my God, I love it.
Thank you for coming on. Oh my God, what's your wine of the week?
Think about it. We whine all the time. All the time. We're all whiners.
I know. Hello. But it's not annoying wines. The podcast is relatable, funny wines. We're all whining through life together.
Okay. It's more of an ask. My wine is an ask.
Okay.
I guess, because you had said earlier, like, it can be anything you want. So frustration lately.
Okay.
I serve on a couple boards and I'm a part of a lot of networking groups here in Houston. One of the number one things that is so hard for groups between 20 to maybe 45 people, women, is that there aren't a lot of spaces for people to actually have meetings. And shout out, and I love the fact that there are actually workspaces that you can go rent or have monthly memberships or whatever. But there's a lot of groups out there that necessarily can't afford to have a membership, or when they want to have a group gathering, then it's like, oh, we're gonna have this gathering. Well, this is gonna be $500 to $600 just to have a gathering for a group. And I get that they need to have money, and I get that they need to make money and all that kind of stuff. But it just gets really frustrating. And then the other side of that is, guess what? You have to pay to play. Yeah. And the other part of that is, it's like, one, there's not a lot to choose from, and two, people don't want to pay, but they want all the benefits of being in the group. It's frustrating. So it's like, how do you find it's hard to find the happy medium of something that's not so expensive. You offer something so that people can come, because it's really tough out there right now. And I get that the finances and
I think that goes both ways, though. I think that as someone in your position, then I'm sure you are, but you have to kind of be like, okay, if you can't afford it, you can't, like, I'm not bitter about that for you. Like, I had to cancel or switch my gym membership from 2 personal trainings to 1. And I was like, I got more things I gotta buy, but I felt bad doing it because I love them and I love the gym. But I was like, I have to go down to 1, but like, you gotta pay to play. I want to stay involved. This is how I could stay involved, by going down in my membership,
Yeah.
So like, similar, as the.
But even before the prices started going up, it was still the same. It was still the same. It's like people just want all the benefits, but they don't want to have to pay for the benefits. And it's like, that's not how this works. So that's my whine.
Okay.
And then can some like great entrepreneur or business owner or someone who's got some warehouse or a space that nobody's using, I would be happy to go in and help, like, show you, let's clean it up, or this is how you can offer this up. Or maybe even they could, if people give charitable donations to be there, then it's like that is able to go into, giving to some other entity or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But have you looked into the Union? My friend's husband just hosted her birthday party there. But
restaurant?
It's an open
concept
space.
Inside the Loop?
Inside the Loop. I'm not going with direction. Yeah, it's Inside the Loop. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It was lovely.
Okay.
It was really nice. Smallish, not like crazy big. You can bring in your own caterers, your own bartenders, your own whatever. Okay. Something to think about. Okay, that was a good wine.
That was a good wine.
Thank you. Where can we find you and your business and your podcast and all of the things?
Okay, well, the podcast is Redesigning Your Relationships. And that is, I think we're going to start narrowing it down, because it's like it's the visual and the audio. Mm-hmm. But primarily I would just, for right now, YouTube and Spotify. It's on Apple and all that kind of stuff, but I would just Spotify and YouTube if you want to see the video. It's Instagram would be YG Collaborations.
Okay.
I'm at Yvette Valdenegro.
Okay.
It's a very unique name. So if you just put in Yvette Valdenegro, you're going to just get me.
Yvette with a Y.
Yvette with a Y.
Are there Yvettes with an I?
Yeah, yes, it's more Yvette. That's very Latin. In fact, when I meet people, they just assume it's with an I, but it's with a Y. Yvette.
Okay.
And then Valdenegro, which is Valdenegro. It's a mouthful.
Okay.
Imagine that name when you're younger. The podcast, me, our company. Yeah. And
of course it'll be in the
show notes. Mm-hmm. And then I would, if anybody wants to chat or they want more information, they can go to ygccollaborations.com, and it's complimentary if they want to get on a 30-minute virtual call and they're just like, there's something about what you said. It's totally their option, but it's free. Like, just to talk and get to know, like, who are you? What's going on? I always think if someone makes the effort to reach out, if there's something going on.
Yeah.
Like, if something resonates with you, it's a first step. And that's a big step. So if you're willing to take that big step, it means that there's something going on that you really want to talk about.
Okay.
And I'm here.
Reach out. And y'all know where to follow me. At Adultish Wines, at Paige_Crutcher. Go get your merch at adultishwines.com. Apparently everyone's really watching the podcast on YouTube lately. Everyone really likes to see that. So don't forget, you can watch it on YouTube. And thank you so much for coming, Yvette.
Thank you.
I'm really happy that we finally made it happen. Love you, Winers. I'll see you next week. Bye.